My name is Amit, and today I'm going to show you how to load metadata in a EPMA, HFM EPMA application. So this is the third session. In previous two sessions I already shown you how to create flat files and how to load metadata from interface table. Today I'm going to show you how to load metadata from flat files. We'll do this in two steps. First I create import profile, and then I show you a couple of options related to managing import profile. So we discussed in the past there are three interfaces we use. Right now we need only two. First, a dimension library and application library. Application library is a superset of all application, and dimension library is a collection of all dimension of HFM, planning, S-base, or performance scorecard, dimension, profitability and cost analysis. So the first step, I'll create a blank application and then load metadata. We'll do exactly same way what we did in a previous session. So step first, creating import profile. The import profile maintains some important information about your metadata load. So step first, we create profile and load directly to dimension library or shared library. Although we could directly load metadata to an application, but we would load into shared library first and then in turn load into another application. And as I discussed, dimension library is centralized location of all dimension. Maybe you need them for HFM, for profitability and cost management, S-base, or high-PN planning. So the benefit of loading into shared library, we can share the same dimension member multiple times across different dimension, across different application. So let's get started. The first recommended approach, I prefer to log into my WebLogic server and check all the required services up and not. So I see over here my foundation services are running, my HFM reporting service are running, and EPMA services are running. Okay, and my HFM also running. Right now I can log into my workspace. The URL of workspace, HTTP name of your server 28080 workspace, and index.jsp. So I'll do it in two steps. First, I'll create a blank application, and then I load metadata into the blank application. First I load into shared library, then I load into my application, right? So in order to create a blank application, I need to open my application library. All application related activity is done in application library. Open your application library. I see one application already exists over here. All kind of application can be viewed and managed through a common interface. Therefore we call application library. I go to file, new, and create new application. Through one common interface I can create all kind of application over here. I'll specify name of application, and then I specify type of application. So you see I'm going to create consolidation application called HFM. I could also create planning, S-base, and profitability application using one common interface. Then I specify name of application. I say practice HFM application 2. Second practice application. This is a practice application, so I add a description, and then I'm going to create a blank application. The moment you create a blank application, auto create local dimension get disabled. I create a blank application because I want all metadata to be loaded from flat files. Although I could use an option called creating a auto create local dimension. Right. So this is done. Let's go to finish. A blank application would be created. A blank application like a folder, which doesn't contain anything. Right. A folder. Now next step, I load dimension. So in order to load dimension, you see in a shared library. Right now my shared library is completely empty. I have no dimension. I'm going to load this metadata file which we prepared in the previous session, and at this point of time I need only delimiter. What delimiter is used in this metadata load. The type of this file is ADS. It's pretty easy. Go to file and create import profile. Creating import profile, profile maintains some very important information about your metadata import load, like it stores information about which dimension you are going to import, dimension member, and how you're going to specify your dimension member, going to load it. Are you going to use merge replace, or a couple of more options are available. So this important information your import profile contain, and later point of time we can modify them, this profile, or we can delete them as well. So I'll define profile name. I generally use a incremental load or full load. So INC is the incremental load. It's a 24 December 24/12/2014, and this is my second load of the day. So I say date and 02. What is your source? I could load from flat file, I could load from interface table, or I could load from DRM. As we already seen in the previous session how to load from interface table, today I'm going to show you how to load from flat files. I point to flat file. I could load directly to application. You see all application visible, or I could load to shared library. The purpose of loading to shared library, I could use them multiple times. Use a shared library and just browse your application. This is the same practice application which we prepared in the first class. So go to your HFM working folder, open your practice application and metadata. I'm going to load a ADS file. Open it, upload, and say OK. At this point we need to define a delimiter of my ADS file. You see we use a pipe delimiter, so I define a delimiter pipe. Other option you can keep them check. This is meaningful especially when you're pulling metadata from your interface, from your transactional system like Oracle EBS, PeopleSoft, or some other sources. The transaction source file may contain white spaces, they may have extra double quotes or transaction log file. We want them to ignore during metadata load. So I'll keep them check and go next. What you see in the first slide, this says your source is a flat file, right? So your EPMA reads the entire metadata file and identify the source files. What is your target? My target is shared library. Either I can create all dimension one by one and manually define. It may be a little time consuming. I can use this option, first option, create dimension for non-map dimension. So what happened? All non-map dimension gets created automatically. And you see there's an option called the source is a flat file. Account dimension go to account dimension of shared library. Alias goes to alias in a shared library. Currency goes to currency in shared library. So there's a one-to-one straightforward mapping. In addition this, you see a couple of more options. Merge as primary, merge as move, and replace. What does these dimension do? These property do? Let me show you. You can find this information in your EPMA documentation pretty well. So merge as primary, what it does, it add all new dimension, member properties, their relationship, and dimension member association that exists in a source but does not exist in a target. These property exist in a source but does not exist in a target, like shared library. You can use this option. Preferably use this option when you're loading it first time. Second option, we see in this order. Replace, as the name indicate, all dimension members are added, the respective properties are updated accordingly. If the members or member properties or relationship not exist in your target, which is your shared library, they get deleted automatically. If the given dimension members are not already exist in the source, if the members are not exist in a source, they get deleted from shared library. So if the members are already exist in shared library but does not exist in a source, they get deleted automatically from shared library. So be a little careful about it when you use a merge option. When you use a replace option, Merge as move option is meaningful. This mode only process member with is primary is set to true. Basically is primary, a member can have multiple instances, right? Maybe same entity member may fall under different parents. It may be geographical, it may be reporting, it may be legal, statutory. So we define one of the instance out of many is primary instance. Our other members may be tagged as shared. So this mode only process those members which are tagged as is primary and ignoring other members. So we are loading it first time, therefore I'm going to use this option, merge as primary. Had you been loading it second time, you would have used this option, replace. So your existing member gets loaded and the member which does not exist in a target gets deleted automatically. I'll use this option merge and go on, merge is primary, go click on next. Now first it loads all the dimension and then it loads all the dimension member properties. So you see, if you browse through your source file, you see you have a set of dimension member properties. Your EPMA reads this dimension member property and say in source these are the properties, what are the respective property in your shared library. So it's quite natural, alias goes to alias, calculation attribute goes to calculation attribute. It's often one-to-one mapping and there we do not need to change them most often. You can click on select all and let it go on. Now it will going to read all the metadata file and import into your shared library. As we discussed multiple times, in EPMA every activity is a job. So therefore this is also job. The job ID 6. I can go back to job console and look at the detailed information about it. What I see now, my metadata file got loaded and there are 0 errors and 7 warnings. You can click on this and browse your log file to identify the root cause of these warnings. I see these 7 warnings. Okay, I'll come to this. The is primary column is not presented in an import source for dimension currency and create all imported dimensions primary instance. So this warning could be ignored. I see the summary over here. There are 16 dimensions got added and 146 members got added. This is the summary information which I needed and import got successful. Once import got successful, I could see all the dimension in a dimension library. See, all dimension got imported over here along with their members, right? Along with the members, and some dimension you see appear under square braces, system defined dimension, user defined dimension members. The next activity is just to select all dimension. You can simple drag and drop and assign to your application. Just assign to your application. In turn, you have got two options: local dimension, shared. Local is like you are copying your dimension from source to target, and shared means you are creating a link, a pointer. If you create a shared dimension, any changes you do in your shared library immediately impact your all applications. So right now I create a shared, all the members. If I make any changes in my shared library, it impact my all application. For example, I add new product. I got couple of products over here. If I add new product, it gets added over here. So I right click and add new sibling called golf shirt. The moment I add golf shirt and I refresh it, it will be automatically added to my product dimension over here. This is the benefit of keeping it shared, right? If I make it local, even though I can do it, but this requires an explicit metadata sync option in the shared library. So this is how you can load metadata from your flat file directly to your shared library, and in turn you can load into your application. In the next session, I'm going to show you how to set application properties and deploy your application in your HFM server. Today I'm going to stop over here and open for your question. Should you have any question, you can ask me. You can also write to us. You can write to us www.bsptrainings.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to access more videos, and thanks for joining today's session. Have a great day ahead.